In this lecture, we will start to build up your toolkit for understanding innovation and the innovation process. There are three basic elements to innovation, which we term technology, market, and implementation. We begin describing one of the elements in this presentation, technology. For the first set of presentations, we will begin with a very simple example, something we all know, the pen, a writing instrument. First, I must define the technology element of innovation, and I'll read what's on the screen right here. Technology is defined as that which encompasses those aspects of the innovative idea that are objectively verifiable by scientific method. All repeatable constructions, formulations that will eventually make it possible to have an idea embodied in the marketplace. So the last quotes, an idea embodied in the marketplace, is how we define an innovation in our work. So basically, I think this is a pretty straightforward definition, that it's in the physical realm, could be still an algorithm. When we say the physical realm, doesn't mean it has to be something you can touch with your hands necessarily. It could be an algorithm, could be a piece of science, knowledge, anything like that, which, as pointed out, it has some sort of technical, verifiable aspect by scientific method. Another important aspect of this is that it can be new or old technology. So the components inside the technology realm, oftentimes people think in innovation they have to be new technology. But I guarantee you, if you look at most of the things that you consider innovations, whether it's an iPhone or a hybrid car or what have you, the number of innovations, the number of technologies that are used in those overall innovations have many old technologies in them as well. We tend to emphasize new technology in innovation or innovative idea, and that's because usually there's many other components of technology and other things, as we'll talk about in the other elements, that are required for innovation that are there, and there's one key missing piece. For example, if you're running in an innovation paradigm, for example, Moore's law, where people continuously shrink transistors one generation after another, and the next goal is fairly well defined, it appears that, wow, if I just had this one key advanced new technology, I can advance the entire field. But those are unusual circumstances. In reality, you're carrying along always many technology elements that need to be considered in full at the beginning of an innovation process that could be old technologies. So have to keep that in mind. It's not just the new contributed technology. So I'd like to go through an example of a writing pen. We purposely choose a very simple example in order to illustrate how to start building this toolkit, how to start thinking about how to innovate with the model that we're presenting. So a writing pen is something that is easy to explain, and everyone has experience with it. So if we were to say that I wanted to look at the technology element for innovation in a writing pen, this example will allow us to show you what we mean by technology, because again, technology, just like innovation, is a nebulous word, but in our model we have to explain exactly what we mean by that. So what we're going to do is we're going to list the various technologies as we're defining it here in the pen. And if you were going to innovate within the pen world, then this would be the very first step. Later on, I'll show you, you can actually start in any element, but the technology element is what we're talking about right now, so let's assume that we're starting with that element and that we're going to make a list of the various technologies in a pen. I'm only using this as an example. This list is not complete, extensive. I'm sure you can think of many, many other things. Actually, one of the points is to show you that even in a simple writing pen, there's many, many technologies, new and old, that are operating in it. But again, this is just an example to show you how to start building up this innovation process that we're going to describe. If you were doing this on a new innovative area or idea, what's required to fill this list is a lot of research, calls to industry, and calls to experts. That's how you can accumulate a list. Of course, with the writing pen, I can make up a list right now because it is such a simple, well-known innovation. But if you were to have a more complex or a research area, then you'd have to do full research into all the different pieces of technology and science that may be involved with that innovation. I say research, calls to industry, and calls to expert because although research today is better than ever and innovation can happen, really the research part of it, innovation can happen very fast because we have the web, which is a huge advantage. However, to really get the proper perspective on what an important list of technologies might be, using experts in industry, calls to industry, calls to people that use the products, these can all narrow and improve the efficiency. It can take you less time to arrive at the list. So let's look at that then. So technology in the pen here, I'm showing you a very simple writing instrument. It happens to be a disposable fountain pen, which in itself is interesting because it's a relatively new innovation. If you go back 20 years, fountain pens were mostly available in the high-end variety and weren't so popular in the disposable variety. So that in itself is interesting. It's a newer innovation. So if we start to list the sort of technology pieces include design. So for example, the shape here, which is part of the design of the pen, is one piece of technology. The clip, you can see there over here that there's a clip that is meant to presumably clip onto a shirt, although personally in today's world I don't see that many people clipping it to their shirt as much as clipping it to their briefcase, inside their briefcase, or some other bag which is carrying all of their instruments and laptops and things like that. But so there's a clip, that's also a piece of technology in the pen. The size, why is it about 4 or 5 inches in length and less than an inch in diameter? Why isn't it bigger, smaller, whatever? There is a range of sizes, so certainly size is one of the design features and piece of technology in the pen. The materials you choose, so materials inside the pen are critical. For example, this pen here is a disposable variety, and so something that we're not considering right now, but will fold in later, is cost. And it's clear that if you're going to have a disposable pen, that probably injection molding plastics is probably a low-cost way to go. And indeed, this pen here is entirely made, except for some very small pieces, entirely made from plastic. So materials choices, anything from, at the high end, you could have very expensive metallic parts included in the pen. So to summarize our first part of the technology lecture, we have first of all defined technology as one of the elements in our innovation process. Started to describe what we mean by technology with a big T. The first thing to note is that it's different from maybe the casual description of technology, in that we mean all old, new technology, really anything in the sort of physical or analytical world. It can be thought of as part of technology. We started with an example of a writing pen. We're going to continue with this example for the first part of this class just because it's something everyone is familiar with. And we started listing the technologies and really the technology categories, because note that what we're really listing could be some of the technologies could be broken down into separate categories as well. So keep in mind that there's many subcategories as well, but we started listing them. And then the we mentioned how this information can be gathered. Right here, we're just doing it off the top of our head because, again, that's the advantage of using the writing pen analogy. But depending on how fundamentally you're trying to make innovation, if you're a scientist thinking far into the future, then lots of research in different technical areas will further define which ones are the most important. And you're constantly in contact with other experts in both different aspects of science and technology. And also, if you're more incremental and you're developing a much shorter term path, let's say the next product in a company, then you have a lot of research, but you do a little bit more research to further define a technology a little further, to maybe find a few more categories in there. And then you also, of course, are in constant contact with experts to help define the different aspects of technology that can be advantageous. So, we kind of only briefly mentioned that, but the information, how you acquire this information is an important part of defining these categories and of the innovation process.